It's not a huge factor for the teams. It's not about who can level. Well, no.
I'm telling you right now, this game, this level 1 is a huge factor for Fnatic in this game. They have
what was the strategy that they talked to you about?
That Ocelot actually knows a lot about, because this is how they beat CLG EU over at Gamescom. They're going to go for a very level 1 heavy strategy here. They've been studying ward placements and very early placement of champions themselves here, Fnatic, and they're going to want to try and control 3 buffs from that. And if they can get this Draven that red buff earlier on, that means that early game in a 2v2 lane or even in a 2v1 lane becomes a whole lot harder for NIP.
I would honestly love to see this right now, Joe, and I really hope you're right on this. And with the way they're set up on the map right now, with the pings that are coming out, it looks like they will, in fact, go for that. I'm going to hold off on the rest I wanted to say about the whole level 1. It wasn't about the level 1 action, it's about the early game, I guess. I said the wrong word there, but Fnatic, I think you're right. It looks like they really want to go in here.
Well, look at this. This is one thing that could actually stop that happening right now, with the test waiting by this tri-bush. And the key is, I think, from Fnatic's side here, that even if they invade, they want to make sure that they get their buffs as well from this one. They don't want to just invade, take the buff, and then lose their red buff at the same time. So we are going to see them start to edge their way in. The test has now left that tri-bush, which opens that side of the map.
And that's the studying you were talking about right there, studying the person's position to get around that, and also the ward coverage, and they're not going to be spotted going in here. However, Svenskeren started his race. He's going to go for red here. Are they going to go for a fight, or are they going to go for a quick take?
Well,
as the test unknowingly hits him.
Wow. And that's just scuppered their plan right there. We are going to see this red buff going to be started. Svenskeren actually comes around, doesn't get hooked in, and the red buff is going to be smited away there by Cyanide. And we can see that Fnatic back straight away from this one. So part 1 of that little plan is going to be complete right now as they head up toward... Is he going to go straight towards his blue, or will he end up going towards red, knowing that Svenskeren's going to head over to that side of the jungle next?
Looks like you're right on the nose of that one. Looks like he will head up towards red here. So they weren't able to take 3 buffs off the bat. Soaz couldn't solo the red, even though he has, his own spiderlings to tank it. But unfortunately wasn't able to get this. And this is what I'm worried about right here. I talked about it in the pregame, having a Caitlyn versus Draven. Obviously, Caitlyn can't match up toe-to-toe in damage, but the difference is he has the range over him. So if he can stay far enough away, if he doesn't get hooked, which, he does here.
He does get hooked. There's the catch, and he's going to get flayed. No, not quite. There's still level 1. That wouldn't make any sense, Joe. Good job. Now he's level 2. If only that had happened a second earlier, but the test is going to be pressured here. Yellow Star keeps going in the end. Just gives a bit of damage to both and backs away.
But you do see the great counter there, actually, when we saw the engage. The hook land on the test was the Aqua Prison. He put it down, or Diffuser put it down right in front of Yellow Star, so he couldn't commit to a couple of extra hits there and kept him zoned away. Not to mention, is you do have like a giant marker on the ground for Draven where you know he's going to run to, most likely to land that axe. So it's kind of hard to miss the Aqua Prison, or at least to keep them away from you.
Yeah, certainly want to be catching them if he wants to keep that damage up. We are going to see them pushing towards the turret, and there you see Cyanide now returning down towards his blue buff. So that 3 buff start that Fnatic were talking about in this one is going to work out for them.
Yeah, so they're hurting Svenskeren, which at this moment, he is level 3. So I like that because it holds him back. Obviously, Jarvan, he gets stronger, or his ganks become stronger the later on the game goes when he gets that level 6 point. But holding him back as much as possible, it works out quite well. And going to point this out, we actually saw Godbro. He had a very huge CS lead over Soaz, but then he backed and bought real quick. So he has an extra Doran's Blade now, so he's going to overpower Soaz in terms of damage, but also he's missing out a little bit on terms of XP because Soaz is still freezing the lane.
Yeah, frozen almost right underneath his turret there, pretty much at the max range before that turret starts getting involved. And you have to wonder then where the early action's going to come into this one. Cyanide did go home, going to be coming back in there with that Spirit Stone, and they are at the moment both level 3. You see Svenskeren just headed in there. Cyanide is going to go down.
Okay, so we haven't seen any ganks happen just yet, but it looks like with those double buffs, he might try to go for it very soon. Once he does have that flash available. But Bjergsen, we haven't touched on this just yet, going up against Xpeke, so it's a Malphite. Like, he's a rock. He's pretty much immovable, as Cyanide actually going to be coming around for a gank here. He might be able to make something happen.
Oh, stun goes down there onto Bjergsen as well. Is he going to be forced to flash away from this one? He still does have that one up here. They've definitely not got enough damage to get the kill from him, but that should force him away, or at least to be a little bit safer inside of that middle lane. Right now, we see Jarvan headed in towards the bottom as well, and Fnatic may find themselves falling foul of this one.
I just totally remembered is we never actually, back in the spring split, we saw quite a bit of the whole Thresh Lantern with the Volibear gank, because it's really hard to see that coming and it can kind of catch you off guard. And looks like they might potentially go for that soon, but as you can see on your minimap right now, we have Cyanide. He's heading up towards the top side. He wants to go for Godbro, but he has his Lightning Rush available. He has his Flash, but they're going to go in.
Yeah, they are going to go into this one. The stun actually comes down onto Soaz here. Can they get the flip? No, a flash, but a flash back in from Cyanide, and there is a Cocoon landing, and the first blood comes down. Soaz picks it up.
Such a fantastic play right there. That was so well done by Cyanide to wait for the flash to come out of Godbro, who might have done it a little bit too early. And then he got flinged right into a Cocoon, like straight into Cocoon, then the blow up. That was so well done by Fnatic. Not to mention, Soaz was the one to actually pick up that kill. So it didn't really matter that Godbro went back early, picked up that early Doran's blade. And now he's going to have a really tough time in lane when he doesn't have Flash available anymore, and Soaz does.
Yeah, that makes him a little bit more susceptible as well here, and as such, he's probably going to have to bring some wards into lane. Does have one with him right now to get into that top lane, so he'll put that down as early as possible. Make sure that Cyanide doesn't come around for kill number 2. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Peke actually doing good damage towards that middle turret there, just stunning Bjergsen up underneath it. And right now, the range of Peke, whilst not doing masses of damage, to be honest to him, is still enough to keep it under control.
I'm looking at it. It's just the whole range to melee kind of thing here. Peke, he's trying to keep up in farm, but Bjergsen's been doing a fantastic job of just keeping up, not falling too far behind, and really give it credit to over to the Chalice actually to keep his mana up. But it's really come down to that level 6 point where, as Peke, you can't escape. Well, I mean, okay, you ideally can if you can flash it, but you can't really escape a Malphite who can just ulti onto you.
Now that's the problem, especially if Svenskeren decides to get involved in that as well. You're going to have a few issues, let's say, to keep that one going. We saw a couple of wards just put down there. Was actually pinged out by ninjas in Pyjamas, so they know that ward was put down just on the curve at the backside of their red buff. If we look down the CS, Soaz does have a little bit of a lead here, and actually he's going to go in once again on towards Godbro. Will pop his ultimate here. Soaz just starting to walk away. Lands a Cocoon. Is he going to go back in? No. I'll throw that volatile Spiderling down, and they'll be happy with the exchange that he's just got.
Okay, so we talked earlier about Godbro in terms of what he naturally plays. Like, we expected him on the Malphite, those tanky, a little bit of AP damage champions. But if you look at his Kennen, he's actually running 8 flat armor pen as well as 8% armor pen, and then 5 flat magic pen with 8% magic pen, which you don't see on Kennen anymore. You see, you know, the flat without the percents to build a little bit more tanky or a little bit more utility here. So it might be his downfall, because you saw right there, Soaz just blew him up, took him down to half health, forced him to pretty much pop all of his health pots here, and that was just one combo out of him.
Right now, blue buff is up for Bjergsen. He will be headed over towards that one. And as you said, he's got to be real careful here. Has Godbro not actually put that ward? Yes, he has. I'm telling a lie. Put it in a tri-bush there. So he's waiting for Cyanide to come through lane. Fully enough, that's where Cyanide didn't come from the last time he came around. So there is a ward at the bottom side of the ramp there, though. So they should be able to figure that one out. Right now, red buff has respawned. Cast your minds back. This is what was stolen early on. Fnatic got the timing down, and they want to steal it again.
But NIP, they have a ward in this bush. They know it's happening. They're going to try to stop it here. But as you saw right there, Svenskeren, he's standing inside of a ward. Diffuse is on the side trying to help out. And it looks like Svenskeren stole it.
He did steal it, but is he going to be able to escape this one? He has to flash there. Cyanide pulled to safety, and they lose out on the red buff, but they've burnt the flash of Svenskeren, which means he can't get involved in any of these lanes too easily. Of course, he is Jarvan. He still can cover some good ground, and right now Fnatic are going to be looking to take Dragon 1 of the game, starting it here at 8:55.
But we're seeing something really interesting to kind of develop is that Fnatic, they're typically not a team that likes to take Dragon early on. Like, their first Dragon time that they, on average, is about 17 minutes and 40 seconds against NIP, where NIP is about 10 minutes and 20 seconds. So Fnatic, they typically like to ignore the Dragons and just focus later on the game, which when we get to that point of Baron, that is usually their main focus.
Right now, the blue buff is going to be done over on the on the Fnatic side of things. And actually left after that. That was slightly strange, as Bjergsen is up here inside of the jungle. Are they going to go for Svenskeren? He's right on the top side, and to be honest, yeah, he's completely in no man's land right now. We are going to see him go in underneath the turret, and in the end does manage to suicide in there. And of course, not giving any gold away, and that's the whole point of that one.
It's a little unfortunate too, because
he lost his buff.
That is true.
A red buff.
He's gonna miss
that he just smited and used his flash for.
Well, it's a little unfortunate, because the whole thing that happened at his own red buff, where Svenskeren took it and got away and prevented Cyanide from taking it, it was working out really well until the point where Fnatic made the great call to, hey, let's do Dragon, because we know his flash isn't available. We know he's going to back away. because you see the double buffs are up for Fnatic, but we do see a gank in the top lane.
Oh, what a cocoon there! Going straight through the minions, and Godbro is dead. Ridiculous.
There's nothing more to say.
I mean, he aimed through the wave of minions there and landed that cocoon while he was running. Like, that was prediction aim right there from Soaz. And, well, that's why he's only lost one game as Elise in the last games that he's played in since the start of the spring split. Incredible.
And what I was going to say was that the whole point of Svenskeren pretty much making Cyanide commit to his own jungle, go for the red buff, means Cyanide would have to clear his own jungle to gank before he would gank top. So it gave Godbro a little bit of extra time right there. But because Svenskeren actually invaded over towards the top side, he kind of was already in position. Cyanide was already there to counter it and already there to gank the top lane. And there's a giant level discrepancy already, growing here, 7-5 as Svenskeren just hits level 6. So Svenskeren will obviously have these ganks available, but look at Fnatic. Look what they're doing, Joe, because I mentioned this earlier. If you shut down Godbro and Kennen, if you keep Kennen behind, you're not really going to have to worry about these team fights because now NIP, they're lacking on damage.
Yeah, you see the one finally has got a bit of magic resist now in there, but not really much to write home about. And we see now Xpeke has that blue buff as well. So we'll see what he goes back home with to buy up to almost 100 CS, 99 to be precise. Only that Chalice in there from the start, and in the end, since Away is pushing, I think he's decided, you know what, I'm going to stick around in that mid lane for just a little while longer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what is he actually going to pick up? Because he has 2,000 gold. I think he's sitting on 2,200 right now. So you do see him going on Bjergsen, but that's the magic resist right there. Like, Bjergsen's not even worried about that. He got through a full combo. He's actually teleporting in.
Yeah, he's going to teleport here into this bottom lane, and the ward is in the brush. They've actually spotted that one coming here, though. Nami Wave is going to come across, and Rated gets away from that one. Yellow Star can take the Lantern, and well, that is the teleport completely used there, and they may even give up a middle turret here if Fnatic is strong about this. They are going to take it.
I'm not sure if Svenskeren can actually hold this. They can go for the turret and then fling him and stun him right away, but you're right, they're giving up this turret here, and that was just an unfortunate major misplay, or honestly, if you look at the other way, that was a phenomenal play out of N-Rated to see that teleport coming in when his eyes weren't even there, technically, or at least in the meantime for what I saw, but he saw it coming in, popped his box down, and stopped any chance of a chase, so you really have to give Fnatic for that.
Yeah, really great read, I should say.
And lead, right now.
Well, and lead as well, yeah, there's no doubt about that one. 3,000 gold they have here with that first turret coming in as well. And as you said, Godbro, slowly but surely, died a couple of times here, both of them to Soaz. He's now 30 CS behind here as well, as another cocoon is actually going to land onto him. Soaz decides not to follow up there, right underneath the turret, but now he actually will here. Godbro's going to put the ulti down. There's the repel coming in, gets the stun, but can he get away? A flash comes around. There is Bjergsen off to the side, puts the unstoppable force down. Soaz will be shut down after that one, though.
Wow, that was quite a turn of events as Godbro flashed over that wall. Fortunately, Soaz got one more Q off on him and was able to pick him up, but the Ignite was ticking, and I think Godbro would have picked up that kill if Bjergsen didn't hit him one or more times, and that might have actually would have been what Godbro needed. Like, he maybe needed that kill to get a little bit more damage, because as you can see on the scoreboard, he has no AP items right now. He's sitting at 35 currently.
Yeah, we've seen Xpeke actually finish up the Athene's Unholy Grail, and he may just head south here. He's got some interesting positioning going on. You see him there, just charging himself up to going on towards Svenskeren, and this could be dangerous for Svenskeren. And, well, ult is pretty much missing him there, and Xpeke is like, I've got a great position, I'm going to surprise him. Svenskeren dodges it without even realizing at first.
That's the best feeling, where you're like, yeah, I knew he was there. I totally meant to do that. But yeah, Fnatic, they currently do have that middle tower down, how we always talk about, Joe, where that middle turret, it gives up so much control of your own jungle, which teams, like the pro teams, will always strangle the other team in terms of gold by taking those camps away. And funny enough, when Fnatic got it around 1240, that's pretty much the exact same time that they average it out against NIP. So that's really standard. But the Dragon, that still confuses me, because they're not a team that typically does that against NIP. But I'm curious to see if they're going to pick up the next one that will be coming up fairly shortly in about 40 seconds.
Right now, Soaz is just going to make sure that top side is warded. Doesn't want to be dying here again after building up such a fantastic lead. I mean, look at the difference in items there. It's a world apart. Double Doran's blade is another cocoon. He's going to land onto Godbro. Soaz does not miss these things.
Yeah, he does not, clearly. And unfortunately, just really hard for Godbro, even though he's Kennen, though. Like, he has Lightning Rush to dodge that, but if he uses that, he won't escape Soaz when he goes in Spider form and uses, the repel to get in close range. Svenskeren, though, he's heading up towards his top lane. I'm not sure if he's going to go for a gank, but he's positioning like he wants to do it. But I don't think they can lock Soaz down right now.
No, it's going to be definitely hard to do that. I mean, he does not have a flash available, which could be the one thing that saves him.
But Soaz is level 11. He could probably 1v2 this if he really like got a perfect engage on it. But here comes Svenskeren. He really wants to make it happen. He has Cataclysm. We haven't seen him use it just yet, but he's still being very hesitant. And if he keeps hesitating, they might lose his turret next wave.
Well, we just saw Godbro going in there a little bit, has to back away, and actually Svenskeren will back away as well. Meantime, Dragon has been started here by Fnatic. Dragon number 2, let's not forget. And it doesn't look like they're going to do anything about it, quite simply because there are no wards there. There's no vision whatsoever for NIP.
And this is what exactly RNA was talking about over the analysis desk during CIS. He was saying, you know, iOS, they go for objectives, they go for, you know, turrets, they go for dragons, for barons to try to push it out. As we do see, so it's actually going head-to-head against Godbro.
Yeah, actually going to get stunned up here, of course, and decides, well, it may be forced not to really push in from that one. We'll see Malphite coming up towards top, and surprisingly enough, there's another Cocoon landing from Soaz, who will watch Bjergsen just walk by. And now with Cyanide and Xpeke coming up, Xpeke's on the bottom side. He may actually catch out Kennen. If we're not careful there, no, Kennen got away. They didn't check the bush in the end. Turret goes down. I'm getting a bit excited over nothing. Well, Malphite is currently running down the river here. Svenskeren going to come in onto him. They are going to go for Bjergsen. But are they going to have the damage, to be honest, to catch him out? But no, but they may have the damage for Svenskeren. He will slide over the wall. And that was a very long chase with not a lot to say for itself at the end.
Sonic actually flashed for that too, but it looks like his Q might have like ran off cooldown or time before he could actually get the flip off. But in the meantime, Fnatic, they're going to take yet another turret, and this is 3 turrets now for them. And as I was saying before about Aranea, he talked about, you know, objective. That's the game to play. It isn't about getting kills, which clearly Fnatic's leading in anyways, but with 2 dragons, with 3 turrets down, Fnatic has a very healthy gold lead at this point.
Right now, NIP coming in towards this mid lane. But that's Seraph. Incredible wave clearing abilities. Bjergsen actually getting trapped underneath the tower here as well, but there you see that magic resist again. Not even losing half of his health from turret hits and the most damage that Xpeke could have really put out in that time.
And I'm getting really worried for NIP because it seems like at this point, because the way Xpeke is building, he's not going to have tons of damage at this, you know, he's not going to really do too much. He might be able to burst down maybe the test if he can get him within range, but with the way it's currently going, look at the CS differences we have. I mean, just look at the mid laner compared to top, where Godbro, 90 CS to the 170 on Xpeke, and that is not a good sign. If Godbro can't get, you know, his Zhonya's built relatively soon, which I'm not even sure if he can go for that item right away, then he's going to get blown up in these fights, and he's going to have such a tough time. But still, I mean, luckily for NIP that Xpeke is going for a different kind of build where he's not going to have, where he's not going to be really bursty early on, so they know they have a little bit more of a window to get back in this game.
Yep, that's exactly what they're going to be trying to do from this one. Yellow Star, as per usual, doing a good job of farming himself up and has maintained this lead over the test for pretty much the entire game right now. It's hanging around about a 10 difference, and Rated did pick up the Ruby Sightstone, getting a couple of pink wards out there as well to maintain the dominance that he's had over Vision here between the 2 supports.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, like when Fnatic was taking Dragon, the NIP, they just simply don't have any wards, and I think that's just all due, you know, to the aggressive warding that N-Rated's been doing with all these pinks, with, you know, the wards in the enemy jungle right now. They've been just shutting them out visually, and it's making it impossible for NIP to go for an engagement. Bjergsen is getting caught.
Yeah, they want to get rid of Bjergsen here. He's got a little bit too troublesome for them in the passes. He is going to use Unstoppable Force to get behind the turret. Well, that may just open things up for Fnatic to actually take this one here. They don't have too many minions with them, but one thing that they do have is great poke from Xpeke.
Yes, they do, and just having the ultimate down, like the kill would have been nice on Bjergsen, but having him not be able to get into the middle of your team and start a team fight for NIP just gives you that confidence where it looked like they were going for Baron, but instead they're actually going to back away. They're not sitting on too much gold, but Xpeke was sitting on 2k, picks up an EC Large Rod, and Baron, oh actually in the meantime, Fnatic, they're over towards the blue buff here. They're trying to keep it away from Bjergsen. It looks like they will be able to take it.
Yeah, and you see there the Lantern actually thrown out for Soaz to take if he wants to. In the end, they're happy with a blue buff steal. That's all the more to add into and head themselves back home for another shopping trip.
And this is the really like kind of scary point for NIP. This is where you see the tilting points start to go in one team's favor, where, you know, NIP, they can't engage on a 5v5 anymore. Like, they didn't want to contest their blue. They knew Bjergsen's ultimate was down. They're going to have a really hard time winning 5v5. So how do you win the game then? You have to clear your own jungle in terms of wards, but, you know, Deficio, he doesn't have an Oracle just yet. He can't really build it up as you keep seeing him put pink wards down. Where N-Rated, he's just been sitting there. I mean, he's not obviously on a GP10, but he has the ability to keep putting stuff down. So N-Rated, they need to get control of something. They have to make something happen soon, or they're just going to keep falling farther behind.
I can admit now that I've seen Soaz miss a cocoon.
Yeah, I was going to ask earlier.
Well, he didn't technically miss, he hit the minion, but I'm not sure that's exactly what he was aiming for with that one. And he's just been a constant threat to Godbro. He's just been a pain in his backside this entire time now. As we see Bjergsen, he's actually camping out inside of the brush there, but even he goes in and then decides, well, I've not really got the damage to do anything to him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and look what Soaz built. He went for the penetration build where if you look on NIP's list in terms of items, they're against double AP, but they don't have a bulwark done. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit early on, but you need that item. Like, that's a core item against going against double APs like this, especially when Xpeke is going to be trying to poke you and pick you off from range here. But Fnatic, they're setting up for something here. They're sitting on top of a ward, but in the end, just like you mentioned, the wave clear and the poke that Fnatic has is just phenomenal, and it gives them that ability to keep pushing up to these turrets.
Here we see Cyanide going through once again. Failed flash from Svenskeren. Cocoon was already used, but the repel is there. Svenskeren is dead. Peke picks up that kill. That was a very weird thing from Svenskeren. They threw the Damashian standard in the brush, even though there was already a ward there. He didn't need to throw that down. And once they threw that, they knew his position and they chased after him. He couldn't slide away anymore, goes to flash and fails it. And now Fnatic are on Baron.
That's just one of those moments in a game where you're just like, oh, we might have just lost because of that. You do see NAP, they're trying to stop it here, and Fnatic, smartly enough, they're kind of backing away. They're trying to make sure they don't lose this Baron. It's sitting at so much health right now, about 50%, and they realize they can't do it. So in the end, they are able to do something, but Enry gets a pull on Bjergsen. But Fnatic, no point in committing on that just yet. You don't really know where everyone else is. And in the end, I mean, that death wasn't terrible. Obviously, you don't want to give up kills, but because you didn't lose Baron off of it, you can kind of take a sigh of relief.
No, but that's a kill to someone on the Fnatic side now that's not Soaz. He's the one that's obviously accumulated every single kill before that, and that's just a big bonus, to be honest, for Cyanide at this point. He's obviously got the needlessly large rod in there, got the team. Must actually be sat on a decent amount of cash right now to go home with. So we'll see that here in a second, but right now NIP are headed down towards the Dragon.
And luckily for them, they actually don't have Yellowstar in a position to do anything about this, but still, Fnatic, obviously teleport coming in from Bjergsen. They might try to go for an engager, Joe.
Coming in from the back, the Nami wave won't actually do too much to Amir, but there's the Cataclysm down. Cyanide actually flashes away and they say, sorry, N-Rated, you're going to be the one that has to stay behind for that one. They got, actually, Godbro very, very low in there once again. And are Fnatic going to go in for this one? Yes. Soaz actually repels in off the side. Cocoon missing there. And in the end, it was all a little bit of a strange fight, but they came out 1-0 there, NIP, but they may lose Dragon as well. Yeah, so this trade's unfortunately not going to work out too well, but NIP, they're not done just yet. They're sticking around. They might want to go for something here. Bjergsen does have ultimate available, so they could fight right after this. Yellow Star's now blocked 2 ace in the alls. The last 2, he's like, well, what up? I'm Draven, I can block him. I'm healthy enough. Doesn't need to be the bear that does all the blocking in this game. I'm quite happy to do that. Spread the damage a little bit around. And right now we are going to be seeing that Zhonya's coming out as well from Soaz, which is just makes him even more ridiculous at this point. 40 CS in the lead. He's in the middle lane. There's a big lead as well. We can see there the gold totals 2,400 Peke has to spend, 1,700 as well for Yellow Star. So he'll definitely have that death cap when he goes back here. And Yellow Star, I'm assuming he's working towards an IE right now. I don't think he'd be going double blitzer, so I don't think he's that cocky. Although an IE would definitely put out a lot of pain. And we're approaching that point where Baron is a very, very real possibility. People are starting to get to the level where when they die, they're down for a long time. As Bjergsen picks up a Glacial Shroud, but you know, I mentioned the Baron particularly because teams that take the first Baron, I believe it's like 73% of the games, they win the game. And with Fnatic, which is like the real key point, they take Baron against NIP earlier than they do against any team in entirety of LCS with 24 minutes and 50 seconds, where the rest of the teams are about 29 minutes, where it's 28:57. So Fnatic, they might try to go for Baron relatively soon. And honestly, with that buff, with what they have, they're how far ahead they are with their whole composition, they can probably win the game if they do go for that. But then on the opposite side of that, they could also lose the game. We've seen Baron stills happen before. Oh, here's a hook though on towards Svenskeren, and they're going to go in for this one. This is going to be a big fight kicking off. Cataclysm goes on to Cyanide there at the back. Godbro is actually taking a lot of damage while having to move away. Bjergsen is off towards the side. He's now on a killing spree as he gets himself one. That will leave us with a 2-for-1 in favor of Fnatic. But are they done just yet? And Rated is going to be coming out of, wow, of cooldown soon. And Soaz actually just flashed away. Does finally get taken down by the test. Yellow Star is running for his life here. Will he be able to get away from things. We still have Bjergsen chasing in, managing to get the slowdown. Xpeke turns around and will stun Bjergsen up, and a very prolonged fight there that ends at 2 for 2.
And that was honestly a great trade for NIP in the end right there. I believe they got a killing spree bonus off of Soaz, which was honestly heavily needed. And then I think Fnatic saw something there during that fight. It's like, Bjergsen, he's not dying. He's not taking much damage here. And they finally got him down to 75% as he's taking a lot of damage. He gets blown up.
Just as you were saying.
I know, right?
Oh, Bjergsen doesn't take much damage. They need to fix... Oh, yeah, there would be a Xerath coming in from the side who now has a death cap. And a double buff now as well, just to top that one off. And that was great awareness from Xpeke to actually come in when he did. I say awareness, there was of course a ward there, which makes it a lot easier to be aware.
Yeah, he was actually attacking from outside blue the entirety of the fight earlier on. But with that kill, he gets the double buffs, and he actually gets a killing spree bonus off Bjergsen. So it's going to give him a little bit of extra more money. And I'm worried, when he gets the Void Staff, who on NAP can stand up against him? And I have to say, it's not really anyone. When I look at Gabro, he's actually going for, it looks like a Leandri's here. And I can kind of understand why he needs that extra damage, but Azonius is really going to benefit you quite a lot in these team fights where you saw at the end, like, he survived, like he was in the Cataclysm with Cyanide, but you saw Soaz come around and clean him up.
Yeah, survivability going to be key here, and actually picking up that Giant's belt there to add in on his last trip home, which now gives him a little bit more stayability when it comes to those fights. On the other side, a blasting one being picked up there as well by Xpeke and the Amptome.
Yeah, so he's definitely going for that Void Staff, and that's where he becomes really scary because of the way it stacks with his W, with extended range and penetration. So it's going to be very hard for NIP to do anything against that, because Bjergsen's... Honestly, he's like the only one that has a clear path into the backline against him. But once he gets there, it's like, okay, I'm here, but I can't really do any damage to you, so what do I do in the end?
We've seen a lot of pink wards coming out here from Deficio as well, so we are going to see the test dead. Xpeke now on a rampage. That's how fast you can blow up with this combo coming in, and now they seem to be going a little bit further in. They're going to lose the turret here, NIP. That will be turret number 4 of the game for Fnatic. Ironically, 2 of them in the middle lane, and they may even go for another one.
And NIP hasn't picked up any towers just yet in the whole composition that Fnatic's running with the Elise. We've seen before, but it's usually a support Elise with like a Lux middle, where if you hit, or even an AP Nidalee, where if you hit someone with a cocoon, everyone just piles on and blows them up right away, which the Test unfortunately was the victim of right there. And Fnatic, they're going to go for this inhibitor turret here. They have to be a little bit careful, but Test down for another 5 seconds. Looks like they should be able to pick this up.
Well, that's the thing. They've got so many options with that combo, whether it's the hook coming in onto someone, whether it's a cocoon, as Bjergsen again has to use Unstoppable Force to throw himself back. Svenskeren slides away, but that is going to be the inhibitor going down here, and still Xpeke doing lots of damage from that backside. Finally now Fnatic finish that one up and are going to back off, but as I was saying, the options for doing that, for catching one person then nuking them down, speaking of the devil, as the test gets destroyed there, it's Yellowstar that actually gets the last hit. You've got the hook, you've got the cocoon, you've got Xpeke who can stun up from range. There's so many options to go in for them to catch that one single man to get the ball rolling.
And this is why I kind of mentioned earlier, as actually I'm going to hold my thought on that one. It looks like Fnatic was trying to bait here potentially, but they were standing on a ward. And this is what I was trying to say earlier about Nami, where, you know, she's about heavy disengages, but you don't disengage against a team that blows you up instantly.
Oh. Look at this, Fnatic setting up a trap inside the back. There's the cocoon, the hook lands. Svenskeren's dead. And they're not finished just yet by the looks of things. The Nami tidal wave comes out to try and stop this. A good bubble catches 2 of them, and the rest of NIP run away. And this is what Fnatic have just done so well there. I mean, Svenskeren thought he was avoiding maybe what the walls he'd put down, because Fnatic have been on this side of the jungle for so long. They put one right on the backside there. That was a brilliant call from Fnatic. That's going to give them a Baron.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, they kind of deserve it. The way they've been playing this entire game, you know, it's 4 to 10, it's 45,000 to 35,000 gold, and they haven't let one single turret slip on their part. And actually, right as I say that, I want to check the top turret. Okay, good. It has a lot of health left, because I don't want to say it and be like, enemy team has destroyed a turret kind of thing. But they've been just doing a great job the entire game, where they're making NIP react to how Fnatic wants to play, but they've also been protecting their own objectives really well. And another Dragon going to be going down to Fnatic. I believe this is the 3rd of the game.
So right now we are, let's say 30 minutes in, give or take, into this game with a 4-2-4 Elise and a 4-0-3 Xerath. We still have no Aegis even on the team of NIP. That just can't be.
Yeah, like, what do you really do? Like, I don't want to make it seem like the game's over, but like, how do you get to Xpeke? You're just not. Like, with your whole team lineup, you're just not going to get to him if he positions correctly, which it's Xpeke, so he's most likely going to be able to do that. You have Soaz, who has that penetration build with the Zhonya's on top of it, not to mention a Giant's belt. So if Cyanide goes in, he can follow him right in, pop the Zhonya's, stay alive. You see a Runic Bulwark picked up onto Cyanide, which unfortunately for NIP on the opposite numbers, Svenskeren doesn't have just yet when both teams are against that double AP composition. And, you know, honestly, you can't really harp on Svenskeren too much about not picking it up because he's been shut down this entire game just from the get-go. Losing his red right away. He's only able to get his blue. Was level 5 when Simon was level 7. So Fnatic just throughout this entire game have been controlling it.
Now we see how fast Xpeke can clear these waves. He's actually going to charge himself up. Are they going to go in for this one? Pog actually not quite going in the place that they want to go, but Fnatic are going to steal another red buff away. I'm going to take another turret number 6 here. And what could be very soon the final turret in that top lane. I mean, there is a big Fnatic wave actually pushed up against that one, so we'll take a look at that in a minute because Fnatic here right now are in fact sieging up, and they see Deficio having to flash away from the ulti coming out of Xpeke once again, and they're going to bully their way through, there's no other word for it, onto this inhibitor.
And NIP, they're having a tough time dealing with just Xpeke. Like, not even the rest of the team. Ignore every single member except him, and they're having a tough time dealing with that. You saw Deficio get dropped down about 20% life. You saw even Godbro, who's supposed to be more tanky for his team, got dropped down about 20% or 20% of his health as well. And NIP, against a Baron up Fnatic, they can't really defend this turret, but they want to. Like, they know if they pretty much just keep letting Fnatic walk over them, they're going to lose the game. But honestly, in my opinion, that's something you want to do on your inhibitor turret when they already have super minions right now pushing on their Nexus turrets.
Oh, and look at Peke. He's off to the side here. And he's trying to put down as much damage as he can. There is a Cocoon landing onto Godbro. This could be a whitewash. Soaz using instantly the Zhonya's. And look at that. One by one they fall. One by one. It was pretty much all together, to be fair. The Tets will die as well. And here is Soaz. He's not finished just yet. He wants that KDA even more. And that will be the ace coming in as it is Peke to finish off the Nami, of course, on Deficio. And now they storm through here. They're going to take down the Nexus turrets. The Nexus itself will fall. And Fnatic come into the game against NIP with a plan. They execute it down to a T and win the game.